For 500 years, the world has watched the same story unfold, again and again. An empire rises. Its flag flies across oceans. Its currency becomes the heartbeat of global trade. And then, slowly, almost silently, it begins to fall. Every time, the world believed this one will last forever. But history never agrees. Today, the United States stands as the center of global finance, its dollar trusted, its power unmatched. But if the past 5 centuries have taught us anything, it's that no empire, no matter how mighty, escapes the pattern of time. The question is the dollar next? It began with Portugal, a small nation on the edge of Europe but with dreams larger than continents. In the 1400s, Portuguese ships sailed beyond the horizon, discovering new worlds, building routes through Africa, India, and Brazil. They didn't just conquer land, they conquered trade itself. The Portuguese escudo became the symbol of power, accepted from the East Indies to the Atlantic. Gold, spices, slaves, and silver flowed through their ports. But their rise was also their curse. The empire grew too fast, stretched too thin. Wars drained their gold. Corruption ate their stability. And within a century, Portugal, the world's first global trading superpower, began to fade into the background of history. The pattern had begun. Then came Spain. Fueled by the treasures of the New World, mountains of silver from Bolivia, rivers of gold from Mexico, Spain became the richest empire Earth had ever seen. But that gold was an illusion. As more silver flooded Europe, inflation exploded. Prices rose, poverty spread, and the wealth that once made Spain powerful turned to dust. They believed they could buy dominance forever, but their money lost value faster than they could spend it. By the 1600s, Spain was drowning in debt. The empire that had once ruled half the planet was now paying interest to its enemies. And just like that, the Second Empire fell. The Dutch watched carefully. They saw the mistakes of Spain and Portugal and built something smarter. Instead of conquering with swords, they conquered with finance. In 1602, they founded the Dutch East India Company, the world's first multinational corporation. They invented the stock exchange, modern banking, and insurance, all to control global trade without firing a single shot. The Dutch guilder became the world's first reserve currency. Their fleets ruled the seas, their bankers ruled the markets. But then came the same disease that had destroyed others: war, greed, and overreach. When England challenged them, the Dutch spent fortunes defending their empire. Their economy cracked, their influence faded, and the guilder's reign was over. 3 empires down. The pattern continued. Then came Britain. Fueled by the Industrial Revolution, the British built the largest empire in human history. From India to Africa, from Hong Kong to Canada, 1/4 of the planet lived under the Union Jack. The pound sterling became the gold standard, quite literally. London was the financial capital of the world. Britain had discovered the formula: build colonies, control resources, and back your currency with gold. But power always demands a price. World War I drained their economy. World War II shattered it completely. By 1945, the empire that once ruled the waves was begging the United States for loans. The British pound, once the world's reserve currency, was replaced. And the new empire rose, not through ships and cannons, but through dollars and deals. In 1944, in a grand hotel in New Hampshire, the world's financial leaders gathered to rebuild the post-war system. They met at the Mount Washington Hotel, the birthplace of the Bretton Woods Agreement. Here, a new world order was written. The United States held 2/3 of the world's gold. Its economy was untouched by war. Its military was unmatched. And so, the US dollar became the new global reserve currency, officially backed by gold. Every nation agreed, trade, debt, and reserves would all be held in dollars. The American century had begun. For decades, it worked. The dollar was as good as gold, stable, trusted, unstoppable. Factories roared, families prospered, and America became the banker to the world. But patterns always repeat. By the 1960s, America was spending more than it earned, financing wars, social programs, and global influence. Foreign nations started demanding gold instead of paper. And in 1971, President Richard Nixon ended the gold standard, breaking the final link between money and metal. From that day, the dollar was backed by nothing but trust and power. To preserve that trust, a new system was born, the petrodollar. America struck a deal with Saudi Arabia. Oil would only be sold in US dollars. This forced every nation that needed oil, which meant every nation, to hold dollars. Once again, the dollar became the lifeblood of global trade. But this time, it wasn't backed by gold. It was backed by energy, by influence, and by fear. Today, the dollar stands where every empire once stood, on top of the world. It dominates 88% of global transactions. Over half of all world reserves are held in dollars. But beneath that strength lies the same pattern we've seen for centuries. Massive debt, endless wars, declining manufacturing, rising inequality. The very signs that marked the fall of Portugal, Spain, the Dutch, and the British are here again. Empires don't collapse overnight. They erode slowly, one policy, one war, one crisis at a time. Confidence fades, alliances shift, and one day, the world simply stops believing. The question isn't if it will happen. The question is when. Generate video with script.